one worry, number one concern heading into the 2025 season. We've seen a couple of preseason games. Honestly, I don't think that any of what my concern is comes from either of the two games. But what is it? 301-230-0980. I want to hear as we are getting closer to the regular season what you're concerned about. So I have a number one, but I also want to mention something else. And I'm going to mention the something else first, and then Max will weigh in as well. The something else is this. The NFC, to me, looks loaded. Like, I think that there are some really good football teams. Clearly, Philadelphia is a really good football team, not just in production off of last year, but, on paper. They are good. And by the way, the star that's coming, and it's coming sooner rather than later, is the rookie Campbell out of Alabama that they traded up one spot to take at number 31. This dude, if you read anything that's coming out of Philadelphia, they think they have an absolute stud linebacker and playmaker on defense. Like they needed more of them, with Davis and Carter and Bond and Dean, who, by the way, was out during the latter half of the preseason. And then the young corners, Mitchell and DeJean. This is a team that on paper should be unbelievable defensively. Defense sometimes fools you. Got it. Still, look out for Jihad Campbell out of Alabama, number one. But I think the NFC, this is my ancillary concern that Washington could be a really good team. And yet, in their own division, Philly, Dallas healthy might be a threat. I still think Dallas has a major issue defensively against the run. I think that's their biggest problem. By the way, that could be our biggest problem as well. I think the Giants are just flat out better than most people think, but I've thought that the last couple of years and been dead wrong. It's going to come down to quarterback. I still think Detroit is incredibly capable. They are healthier on defense. They'll have Aiden Hutchinson back. I think Green Bay is a good football team and a well-coached football team. If J.J. McCarthy is legit, then I think Minnesota's got a very good team and an exceptionally well-coached team. I think Tampa is good, and I think the Rams and the 49ers are both teams capable. If they remain healthy, Stafford, clearly the health issue with the Rams, and San Francisco with all of their key players. Remember, other than Debo, they still have their star players. It's just a matter of whether or not they'll be ready to play. Christian McCaffrey will be able to play 17 games. Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. They have A level, if not A plus level, star players. And Brandon Ayuk not going to be back probably until sometime in month 2. But we'll see. So just as kind of an ancillary, it's not my number one, and you never know how these things play out. Health means so much. But God, the NFC all of a sudden has turned to there are many capable teams. And in the, overall of the league, the best team in the NFL likely exists in the NFC and specifically in the NFC East. Now, my number one concern is the ability to stop the run. 26th last year per DVOA. They obviously went out and tried to change the look. They wanted to get bigger up front. They did that with Kinlaw. We'll find out whether or not a couple of the other guys even make the team or end up being contributors. But they wanted to get bigger with the Wises and the Kinlaws of the world. And they look bigger. And, the other night, again, it's preseason. Cincinnati went into that game with sort of a makeshift offensive line situation. But I thought Washington up front was pretty good. And I thought Kinlaw and a couple of others looked the part. We'll see when we get to the opener against the Giants. But last year, it was the biggest problem. And there's nothing that says until we see real games that they have fixed that problem. And with this team this year, they need to have fixed the problem because it starts with a guy like Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary, and that's the least of it. Week 2, it's Josh Jacobs, a borderline elite level back in the NFL. Week 3, they'll get the rookie in Ashton Genty. Week 4, you could argue one of the top 2 or 3 backs in the league in Bijan Robinson. Week 5, you get the LA situation with the rookie out of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton, and Najee Harris. The Monday nighter against Chicago, maybe not a lot to be concerned about, although DeAndre Swift basically turned that game around before the Hail Mary with that long touchdown run in the third quarter that got Chicago back into that game. And then you go after Chicago. Hold on, let me pull the schedule back up. I just lowered it. Then you get Dallas, and you get their situation. I wouldn't say at this point that they've got, a dominant back. I've always been a Javonte Williams fan. He's just never been able to stay healthy, but we don't know what the rookie, Jaden Blue from Texas, will look like. And then you get, after him, you get Kansas City. Then you get Seattle and their backs. I mean, Seattle's loaded with running backs. They have Kenneth Walker III. They've got Zach Charbonnet. They've got the rookie Damian Martinez. I don't know how he'll find his way into a lineup with those particular backs. After Seattle, you get Jahmyr Gibbs. Then you get Devon Achane. Then you get, Aaron Jones. Then you get, oh, by the way, Saquon Barkley twice to end the season. The number one key to beating Washington week in and week out, we always do the keys to beating the opponent. The keys to beating Washington, if you're doing that segment in every other NFL market before you play Washington, is keep number 5 off the field. Keep number 5 and that offense off the field. How do you do that? By controlling the football. What's the best way to do that? By grinding it out, by keeping the football and being balanced, yes, but being able to run it when you want to run it. And to me, that would be my number one concern. Like, there is nothing that says to me in the opener against the Giants that they're just going to completely shut down the Giant offense and the Giant running game. Giants have a decent offensive line. They have the ability to, if you load the box, to kill you with Malik Neighbors, for sure. So Tracy, I thought, had a good rookie season. I thought it was an underrated rookie season. He was a 4th-round pick out of Purdue. 4th-round pick, something like that. He rushed for 800. Here it is, 5th-round pick. He rushed for 839 yards last year on a bad team, averaged 4.4 yards per carry. He had some games too, man. He had some games against a good defensive team, Pittsburgh. That was a Monday night game, 20 carries, 145 yards, and a touchdown in a game that they were in, 7.3 yards per carry. In the 2 games, he didn't really play in the first game, didn't play until starting really in week 5 as a rookie. And his first game in which he got a bunch of carries, 18 for 129 against Seattle in week 5 last year. But in that really good game in the Meadowlands, he was 16 for 66, 4.1 yards. I thought he was effective. So there's nothing that says to me that the Giants can't grind it out, can't, stay on the field with their running game and with some 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts and limit the possessions that Washington has offensively. That's my number one concern, is that Washington struggles again defensively, but specifically against the run, and teams are able to basically, meet that number one key to beating Washington, which is keep Jaden on the sideline. Before we get to the calls, Max, what's your number one concern?
So you're spot on with the run stopping thing. And throughout the preseason, I've kind of noticed, I understand it's preseason, but when the starters have been out there, and even when they haven't been, teams have really been able to run the football kind of all over. Like, if it, and the measurement I kind of stack up or measure up to when you're a defense is can you stop them when they need a yard? And we saw that in the preseason game literally 2 nights ago against the Bengals where they needed a yard, they got it right into the end zone. Now Quan Martin tried his best, but it just didn't work out. And so I'm absolutely with you on that being a concern. Another one for me is just general health of the team going forward. Because last year they got really lucky in terms of like injuries and stuff like that. And I understand it's football. Everyone's always going to play hurt. But like how healthy is Marcus Mariota at backup quarterback just in case Jaden Daniels does end up going down? Are we going to have to roll Josh Johnson out there at some point, which God help us all.
We're really not going to get into the conversation about being concerned about the third string quarterback.
Fair enough.
Are we?
No, but
because I will tell you, if we get to Josh Johnson, this season is over.
For sure.
If we get to Marcus Mariota, the competitive portion of the season is likely over.
Absolutely. But not only that in the quarterback room, but like just kind of around the rest of the team, the pieces surrounding Jaden. Terry coming back late, is that going to affect him coming into this season? How healthy is Brandon Coleman? So like, and these pieces on the offensive line that are supposed to be protecting Jaden, but if they're hurt, well, then he might be scrambling just as much as he did last year. And now Trey Amos is dealing with a little bit of a hamstring thing. So I'm seeing all of these little just kind of nicks here and there. And I mean, they could turn into something throughout the season. They may not. But I mean, the depth at corner is these guys have got to stay healthy because after Noah it's a good bit of drop off with that secondary. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of concern. It's mostly injury at this point.
All right, let's get to the phone lines. 301-230-0980, 301-230-0980. What's your number one concern heading into this season?